It's good. I was actually in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Yeah. So the IFF Fall Firefighter Memorial is there, and every year they have a ceremony and they'll add names to the wall of firefighters who died from all across country Canada. So it's a really big event. But last year, my friend died of occupational cancer. He was like 6 months old. Thank you. Yeah, he was a firefighter. He was an Allentown firefighter. I met him at a training at the state, and we became friends. And he went to the hospital one day with abdominal pain. He was bowel cancer in the 60s. Passed. So, yeah, I think he was a couple months older than me. But anyway, like Allentown is out there, and I wanted to go out there and be there for the ceremony. So I went out there for that. I hung out with the Allentown guys, but it was kind of funny. So my other, I'll show you. There was three of us. It was me, my buddy John, and Jeff passed. And John was supposed to go out with me, and he didn't go because he had something better. Like he didn't say he had something better to do, but this was a long time ago. So that's Jeff. This is me. And we were supposed to hang out with John, and John ditched us. So his wife took this picture and we sent it to John. So yeah. So this weekend while we were out there, that's his wife. So we sent this to John. We were like, yeah, his wife thinks you're a bitch now because you couldn't come out to hang out with us. So, but no. But it was. I mean, it was a beautiful ceremony. You know, it sucks like that. Yeah, no present for each family with a plaque. Yeah, and it's actually really cool. Like they basically have like because there was over 300 names this year, and you would think like, oh my god, like they had done it. Like it was so like yeah, they have it down to science, and like it would just basically like they'll bring out 15 people at a time, and they'll read the names. And it's a very well orchestrated event, but no, it's fun. It's just beautiful. The park. Like I didn't take any pictures of it because it's not something that I don't want to say that I don't want to remember, but it's just not something like I advertise. Like, oh, look at, but the memorial just it's in this park, and the Rocky Mountains are all just right there. So it's just this kind of backtracking of beautiful mountains. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, like I said, I could probably show you like. Yeah, I mean, like there was other people taking pictures there, but to me, it was just, I got to, just honor him and.
So he had kids.
Yes. Like the oldest one's like 16, maybe like 8. Yeah. Oh yeah, they're doing fine. So, yeah, he actually, it was weird. Right before he died, John and I went to his house, and he had like he basically he made sure that he made sure his wife had everything like set up financially. It was just he did it really well. It was weird because we were up there and he's like telling us like everything he's planned because he knows he's not going to be it. And John and I were like starting to cry, and he's looking at us like, dude, you guys are dying. Like I'm not. Yeah. So yeah, like what are you guys crying for? So it was just funny. So. But yeah, it's just it's part of the job. So, yeah. Make sure you wear the proper. One of the things that I actually discovered now is the material, the chemicals they use to make our personal protection equipment is giving us cancer.
Oh.
So the equipment we wear actually contribute to our cancer. So
Has that changed?
they're working on it right now.
So crazy.
It's so crazy. Like it's really so they're called PFAS, and but like what's right is like they're in everything. Like they're like everything in your home. It's in everything. So it's just yeah. Yeah, well, they just discovered it, so they're working on. Yeah, it was only the last 2-3 years, and the science was not coming out behind it. It's definitely that, but it's also the equipment we're into.
Ready?
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's not like I mean.
I don't got a month, but seriously, I don't need No, I'm not. Well, maybe we just swap cars. That's all. How are you, man? Guys, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good.
I seen everyone's email, but I didn't read it. How are you, sure?
One day they'll get me a tall chair. When do I get a tall chair? Huh? Yes, sir. My conscience is clear.
Yeah, good. It's mental health is important.
Thought about it.
They all ran out?
The right thing to do. How's that going?
Sit down, Troutman.
Where's the money?
You guys ready?
Yes.
Good afternoon and welcome to Councilman Fred Green's birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Good afternoon and welcome to the City of Chester's deliberative agenda meeting for Monday, September 22nd, 2025. All of us are here, meaning council and solicitor, so solicitor, take it away.
Thank you, Your Honor, members of council, members of the public, and staff. Welcome to the Monday, September 22nd, 2025 deliberative meeting for the City of Chester. There are no ordinances on the agenda. The following resolutions are on the agenda for final passage. Resolution 104, authorize the allocation of Home American Rescue Plan, parentheses, home-ARP, end parentheses, funding to Liberty Housing Development Corporation for the development of the Eileen and Sean's Place rental housing development at 1100-1130 Morton Avenue. Resolution 105, authorize approval of change order number 1 for LSN CM&E LLC, doing business as LSN Contractors and Construction Managers, to furnish and install 2 new Pella doors at 407 Avenue of the States and prepare and install epoxy flooring at 517 Avenue of the States for a change order amount of $10,379.32. Resolution 106, authorize approval of preliminary final minor subdivision and lot consolidation plan for the subdivision of 0 West 2nd Street. Resolution 107, authorize approval of the updated towing rates and storage costs for vehicles within the City of Chester effective January 1, 2026. Resolution 108, authorize approval for an appointment to the Stormwater Authority Board. My understanding is that Resolution 109 will be withdrawn. And that would conclude the list for today. I will note, and we'll note again at the regular meeting, that we did meet in executive session to discuss a legal matter and some personnel issues.
Thank you, Mr. Solicitor. Are there any questions from council? Questions, concerns?
Yes, I do have some questions, and I don't see Lisa or anyone from CETA here, but I would like to know how we got to $849,852 now being allocated to Liberty Housing Development Corporation. And so I know we got a certain amount of funding for the ARPA projects that the city allocated they was doing. So, but reading the ordinance, this funding is coming from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. So this is separate from the $30 million that we was allocated?
This is a separate allocation specifically through HUD. This is completely different than the $30.3 million that was allocated in ARPA funds to the city of Chester.
Okay. Now, I know there's a number of housing initiatives in the city that's trying to get kicked off. One of them is down there by the Access Center, the housing development. What is that, the name?
That's Grace
Grace
Manor.
Manor. So, you know, how did we pick Ellen's Place over Grace Manor, or, I mean, how did we get to this decision is what I'm basically asking.
I don't want to speak for Lisa, but we can certainly get some answers before the Wednesday council meeting, but there was an RFP process that was done for this particular fund. This has a very low income threshold. I don't think Grace Manor was even eligible for the use of this funding stream. So I don't think they applied for this funding because they wouldn't have, their Grace Manor project is not eligible for this funding because of the income restrictions. But
So RFP went out for this particular money.
that's my understanding.
And do we know how many bidders? I don't have any information except this resolution. And I wish Lisa was here. Can somebody call her? I would like to know some information before I vote on this. Like, I don't remember a RFP or anything being put out about this resolution or about these funds at all. And my colleagues on council, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Do you guys remember any RFP or anything being mentioned about this before today?
I think Lisa's out of the office today, but we'll make sure that she's here on Wednesday in advance of the meeting.
Okay. I would like that before we vote on this.
Absolutely. We'll have her maybe we just do a quick presentation in advance of the actual vote on this. We'll do that on Wednesday.
Thank you.
Anything else?
How are we coming along on, or can I ask, on the, what's the apartments down on 7th and,
Benjamin Banner.
Is that Benjamin Banneker? There's, our Department of License and Inspections has done an inspection as of September 15th, and I think about 3 or 4 days later. From what I understand, there have been significant improvements to most of the life safety issues that were enumerated in our petition for preliminary injunction to require them to repair. There's another backup final hearing date scheduled for September 20th in the absence of either repairs being made or an acceptable agreement to make the repairs.
Not September 20th.
October,
Up to
September 30th.
30th, okay, yep.
September
So,
30th.
September 30th.
Okay.
So, if they make the repairs that we've requested, or substantial progress, or there's an agreement acceptable to the city, then there won't be a hearing. There'll be an agreement that's incorporated into a court order, and the landlord will be court ordered to make the repairs in a timely, acceptable fashion, or there'll be a hearing and the court will make a ruling as to whether our preliminary injunction should be granted or not.
Have we done any relocations for any of the
The
residents that have, medical needs?
The city has come up with a procedure and presented it as part of this agreement and as part of the lawsuit to be accepted by the landlord and adopted by the court. I think it was Kristen Mobley who prepared it, and it's very well prepared. There hasn't been an agreement on that. I believe a few of the residents have been relocated voluntarily by the landlord, but certainly not to the degree that we feel necessary based on the absence of an elevator and a sprinkler system and a fire, alarm that works and all that. So the city has proposed what we require, and we're kind of negotiating that. So I can tell you that the city has involved the county, the state, HUD, just about any organization you could dream of to address that issue. So I think, the city has done a yeoman's job, and I mean, when I say the city, I mean L&I, the mayor, the chief of staff, the fire commissioner has done an incredible job assembling a team and really drawing attention to these horrendous conditions at the Benjamin Banneker. But all we can do is what we're doing legally and see what happens by hopefully September 30th.
And there's no more water leaking from that. I was there about a week ago, and water was coming from the ceiling on the
So-
first floor.
Yeah, so apparently that's been stopped, and what that was one of the apartments had a leak. It wasn't the water that we were concerned about, but still, it's a matter of concern. But that was fixed. That was coincidentally and ironically an isolated incident on a day of inspection. But I have received some emails, and we will share all of that with council once it's in a coordinated fashion before we reach an agreement. But there has been apparently, according to my conversation as of noon with Brian Razzie, a lot of progress on the major issues. They expect, I think later this week, there's an inspection by the state for at least one of the elevators to be in operation. We did speak with the sprinkler system company. I think it's maybe out of like Houston, Texas or something, but they, according to our inspectors, appear to be a legitimate, reputable company, and the proper part has been ordered. So, I mean, they're making progress. HUD has really held their feet to the fire. We're also waiting for, HUD did their inspection. I don't know if you recall or not, but the last inspection they did, I think the housing unit scored like 8 out of 100. So they were re-inspected last week, so we're waiting for that score to come in. But, honestly, everything that can be done is being done. The outcome I can't predict, but I will tell you that nothing would be done if we hadn't done what we did, and that is the residents' complaints, council voicing their concern, the mayor, and all the entities from the police department to L&I, to Department of Health, even the solicitor's office, right, Janelle? So, but really everybody, honestly. So, I'm pleased with the progress, but I predict no absolute result based on many false alarms, no pun intended.
Nona, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Right, Nona, I mean,
I think all
hours,
of you are doing a good job.
continual, at least 2 meetings a week, continual updates by everyone. We have the top of HUD involved, people from the top of the state to the county, and, everybody will do whatever they can. We've involved legal aid for the residents because they have their own private cause of action. And I mean, I can't think of anything else we could have done. And by the way, the receiver, helped spearhead this as well, so I didn't mention him, but everyone has been cooperative, and it's a good team. But we'll see if anything's gonna happen, it's because of the team effort.
And one last thing, I want to respectfully ask the mayor and Justin if we can make sure that all of council members, we're aware of, especially when dignitaries are coming into town, that we know about it. Even though we're not participating in the venue, maybe we could still attend and show our presence. So I would appreciate that.
Just one last thing I wanted to say. This really is, what's occurred here with this Benjamin Banneker is now truly a template, based upon the resources we have, of course, of going forward, how these dilapidated, deteriorated, dangerous property should be addressed.
But Justin, I want to thank you for all of your hard work. I know you work hard. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And I was also going to mention, apologies with the shared calendar not working, but I do try to load, anything that's coming up, just any events that council should be aware of for you guys. So, I can touch base with each of you to make sure that you have access to that and are able to see that shared calendar.
Because we should have been there supporting our mayor and our commissioner the other day when Governor Shapiro was here. Backup team.
No, I mean, I do hear you. That was not our event. We did not schedule it. That was something that he put on his calendar to be held here in the city of Chester. As you can imagine, elected officials, politicians at all levels, but particularly at high levels, and particularly because he has been attacked in the past, are very careful how they stage those events. So there's a lot of secrecy, there's a lot of last minute, like our invitations were very last minute. We've seen him before, but what we saw on whatever day that was the security was ramped up even more. They were extremely tight as to who was on the invitation list, and no one was allowed in who wasn't. Even when it came to who was going to speak at that event, that was already pre-decided. And I mean, the commissioner can attest to this. When we were in the huddle and they were going over the run of show, I wasn't even included. And it was only because the governor says, well, do you want to speak? Was I included? So there was people at every door, at the elevators. It was really tight. So to your first point on the whole matter, yeah, you should be aware when dignitaries come to town, but we had no authority as to who was going to get into that room. So fair point.
Thank you.
And to the Banneker, like everybody said what needed to be said, but there is a particular person on these calls, and there's probably up to 15, 16 people on this call when we get together to address this situation. And that person represents us, and she's very, very frustrated because she feels like all of us. Can't more be done for these people, even with the situation as it is right now? And kind of one thing that Michael Dowry, the former receiver, would say when I had those frustrations with how things are moving, he would look me right in the eye and says, you can't get ahead of the courts. And it sort of applies here. And as much as our heart bleeds for the people who are still suffering there, I really had to step in to kind of level set, but also pose the question to particularly the HUD official who's on that call. And he represents an entire section of the United States, I guess from, I don't know, at least Vermont down to Maryland maybe.
Eastern region.
Yeah,
Northeast.
Northeast. And I asked him, like, I'm sure you encounter situations like this in your daily work. The team that's assembled before you that you're working with to remedy this, is this normal? And he shook his head no. He is so impressed with who we've assembled to help address this issue that I'm convinced that that he's engaged even more than normal in the resolution. I can't imagine how many of these situations he faces on probably a daily basis. There is a cabal of property owners out there that are just not good. I mean, that's the nicest way I can put it. And through this process, we're really discovering how privately owned, public subsidized housing can go wrong. But to Ken's point, we don't know what the outcome's going to be. You know, it's really in the hands of the courts. It's really in the hands of how they're going to handle them being the owners. What we're trying to agree on, ultimately, if we can come to an agreement and they do the work, then everything's fine. If we can't, then it's the judge that will rule. So I just say all that to say we're kind of a David and Goliath situation, and usually in situations like this, government is the Goliath. But wow, we're going up against a force that is well established. They know the rules, they know the laws, and they don't make it easy to do what we feel on our side is the right thing in terms of running housing. So it's tough, it's hard, but to Ken's point, we've learned a lot in this process, and what we've learned is something that we can re-engage over and over again, because what we see in the Banneker is not isolated here in the city of Chester. There are other properties that we will more than likely, as a result of work that goes on in Ms. Nona's department, we may have to engage again. So we will be well prepared next time. Not to say we're not well prepared now, but we had to build what we have now that we can duplicate over and over and over again. It's a case study for sure. It's worthy of a book, I'm telling you. We're up against some forces that we're learning more and more about every day. Anything else? Anything on council? Anything from directors or anyone in attendance? If not, do I get a motion to adjourn? Are we motioning? Or do I just hit the gavel? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.